Hey, fifth grade? How's it going? Welcome back to class. It is Teacher Joe here. Today is Friday, August 7th, 2020. We're not going to use our book today. We're actually going to discuss real-life examples of fractions and practice adding and subtracting fractions with some games. So, let's get started. What we're going to do is take a look at just some examples of fractions that you see in real life. All right, so the first example is rating of products. I'm sure you've bought a phone or something in a store recently where you had to rate the product. You can see on the screen 3.5 out of 5 is a fraction, right? It got almost a 4, but between a 3 and a 4 out of 5 stars or whatever the rating was. So that's a fraction. You can also use fractions in real life in baking or food, right? You can say that you have 1/2 of an apple, 1/3, 1/4, or even a whole. When you're telling time, you can use fractions. For example, it's very common to say it is 6:30 to say 6:30, or it's 6:45 to say 6:45. It's very common to find fractions in telling time. When you're buying gas for your car, you might not realize it, but there are fractions that exist inside of the price of the gasoline. For example, $3.27 is actually $3.27 and 9/10 of a cent. This is obviously in the United States. Here in Costa Rica, we use kilograms, we use liters, we use colones, different types of measurements. You can also use fractions in discounts and sales. Say you're finding a shirt and it's on a discount of 50% off the original price. This is a fraction. You can use it in cooking. For example, 1/2 teaspoon or 1/2 tablespoon. Both of those measurements are fractions. Let's say, for example, you wanted to bake some banana bread. You would have to use 5 bananas and 1/4 cup oil, 1/4 cup applesauce, 2 eggs, 3/4 cup flour, and so on. There's lots of fractions that you need to know in order to bake that banana bread. So, just a little recap. We use fractions in lots of different environments: driving, cooking, sales, whole bunch of examples in real life. Let's say you wanted to be an engineer, not just with toys, in this case, like Legos, but a real engineer later on in life who had to understand the concepts of fractions. You would have to know how to separate out whole numbers into fractions, add them, subtract them, etc. Later on in high school, you're going to need to know fractions for chemistry, which is one of your science classes that you're going to be taking. A little bit more lighthearted, maybe you wanted to be a BMX biker and you wanted to calculate the amount of time it took you to do a stunt or a jump. This biker could have landed within a fraction of a second. Or an athlete finishing the race in a certain amount of time, whether it would be seconds, miles, kilometers, or another type of measurement. In math, you see fractions all over the place. You learned about them in 3rd and 4th grade. Now you're learning how to add and subtract them, multiply and divide them in 5th grade, and you'll continue not only in 6th, 7th, and all through your mathematical career. If you travel to the United States, it's important that you know fractions because the money is broken up into fraction form. For example, if you separate a dollar into 2 equal parts, you'll know that half of the dollar is equal to 1/2. If you put 2 of them together, it's equal to a whole dollar. You can also separate a dollar into fourths. 4/4 equals $1. So, which fraction would you say is worth for a penny? Well, over there on the left, you see 1/100th of a cent. Okay, 1/100th of a cent is the same thing as 1/100th of the dollar, right? 1/100th is the fraction that represents the amount compared to the whole dollar. A nickel is worth 5/100ths, or its equivalent fraction, 1/20th. A dime is 10/100ths, or its equivalent fraction, 1/10th. And a quarter is 25/100ths, or 1/4. Take a look at this exercise. If you'd like to do it on your own, go ahead. It'll give you an understanding of the amount of money in the United States in comparison to its fraction. Use this information that you already know from the previous slides to do this exercise. You can also use fractions when you're sharing. For example, if you were to share an orange with 10 of your friends, 10 total people, divided into 10, the orange into 10 separate pieces, you'd have to say that 1/10 of each part of the orange goes to each person. Right? That's a fraction. When you're buying food, sometimes you need to understand how to separate the food into equal parts, whether it's 1/2, 1/4, 1/3. Here's a link of more examples of how you can find fractions in real life, whether it's in health, science, mechanics, cars, farming, engineering, or many other examples. Now what we're going to do is play a couple of games so we can understand fractions even more. The first game that I'm going to show you is called Speedway. Okay, Speedway is a game where you get to find the math problem on the bottom, and you have to try to race the car to the finish line. For example, 1/3 plus 1/3 would equal 2/3. So we're going to do this example, okay? And let's start the game. All of these links are going to be in the notes section on the bottom of the video. All right, 2/4 plus 2/4 equals 4/4, which is the same thing as 1/1. 4/5 minus 1/5 equals 3/5. 1/5 plus 4/5 equals 5/5, which is the same thing as 1. 2/3 minus 2/3 is the same thing as 0/3, or 0/9. It's the same number. 2/5 minus 2/5 equals 0/5. 2 minus 2 is 0. 3/4 minus 3/4 is 0 again. 2 minus 2 equals 0. All these are the same. 3 plus 3 is 6, and 6/6 equals 1. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7/10 is your answer. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8/6, which can be compared to 4/3. Hey, look at that. We won the game, even with the explanations. All right. So, you guys can play that game. The link, again, will be in the description in the video. Okay? The next game that we're going to play is called Math Man. It's similar to Pac-Man. Okay? What you need to do is you need to move the arrows on your keyboard to try to play this game and add or subtract fractions. So let's do the first one together. 7/4 minus 1/4. You see the answer, the problem right there on the bottom. 7 minus 1 is 6, so 6/4. We're going to look for 6/4. You can also eat the little prizes along the way. Okay, this star thing right here pauses the Pac-Man so that you can find your answer more easily. So again, we know that 7/4 minus 1/4 is 6/4. All right, let's see. 7 minus 4 is 3, so 7/4 minus 4/4 equals 3/4. So let's look for our answer, that blue one right there. Okay? 8/4 minus 3/4 equals 5/4, which I believe is right there. We got it. We cleared the level. If this level is way too easy for you, you can always pick a different level. You can go back to the start and pick a different level. All right, now we have 3/5 minus 1/5. 3 minus 1 is 2. So we're going to look for 2/5. Oh, you got to be really careful not to eat the other ones, right? All right, 8/4 minus 2/4 equals 6/4, which is the same thing. Let me just show you on the screen. If we have me see if I can do this right here. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. Oh, here we go. 8/4 plus or minus 2/4 equals 6/4, which is the same thing if we divide both sides by 2. 6/4 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it's the same thing as 3/2, which we can also change to 1 and 1/2, right? So we have equivalent fractions right here. All 3 of those are equivalent fractions. Okay? Let's do another problem, another game. All right, I'm going to show you another game which is called Fraction Board Game. Okay? This fraction board game wants you to drag and drop the equivalent fractions into the correct box. Well, I know that 8/10 is the same thing as 4/5 because I can divide both sides, the numerator and the denominator, by 2. So we have 4/5 is the same as 8/10. 9/21. Well, I know that 9/21 can be easily simplified by dividing both sides by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So my final answer is going to be 3/7. Okay, you kind of understand the idea of that game. The next game that we're going to play is called Adding Fractions. This one's pretty simple. To feed the fractions. Alright? So let's play. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. I get that. Feed the fraction monster the ones. Alright, let's see. Alright, we need to find 1. So 5/6 plus 4/6 is equal to 1, but I don't see a 4/6. I do see 2. Ooh, no, that one's incorrect. We need to find 1, right? So we could go, let's see, I see thirds here. 1/3 plus 2/3 equals 1. There you go. Another example of 1. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. 1/6 plus 5/6 equals 1. I know that 1/4 plus 3/4 equals 1. 2/7 plus 5/7 equals 1. 5/9 plus 4/9 equals 1. 1/8 and 7/8 are 1 as well. And lastly, 2/5 plus 3/5 equal 1. There you go. Our monster is grown. Good job. All right. We're going to go on to the next and last game. This one is called, what is this one called? Fruit Splash. Okay. You need to find the fraction that's on the screen. For example, 1/12 plus 5/12, and then you need to find the fraction that is the answer. So 1/12 plus 5/12 equals 6/12. And 6/12 is the same thing as 1/2. So we need to find 1/2. Where is that answer? There it is. Okay. 2/10 plus 2/10 equals 4/10. We can simplify this fraction, find its equivalent. 4/10 is the same as 2/5 if we simplify that, right? So let's find 2/5. Where is that? Ah, there it is. Okay. 9/12 plus 9/12 equals 18/12, which we can simplify if we really want to. 18/12 divided, and divide each one by, let's try 2. Divide this by 2 and divide this by 2. We're going to find that that equals 9/6, which is the same thing. We can actually divide each side by 3 one more time, and that's going to equal 3/2. All right, so let's look for 3/2 on our screen. I don't think I can. That right there. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. All these games are going to be in the notes section on the bottom, okay? So thanks very much for being attentive, boys and girls, and hopefully you'll play some of these games, and we will see you next week.